This guy I was seeing told me I was saging wrong, which was not the first in his many series of like little jabs or negs towards me that made me feel like he was yucking my yums, and like he just couldn't let me have anything. Like, do you know those people who in conversation you're gonna present an idea completely independent, something about you, something about your day, something about your life, and they have to one up you with some kind of like, no, actually it's like this. It's literally like in How I Met Your Mother fucking Ted, like the Tedisms of, no, I must always correct you, and actually like that person, you know what I mean? But they do it in a way that after the third or fourth or fifth time you're like, this is feeling a little condescending. Like, do you have to be right and have the last word about everything? Like, specifically, there's a tone there when it's a man doing it to a woman, right? And so I tried to explain this to him. I was like, do you ever let anyone just have anything? And this wasn't even after the sage comment, which, what do you mean I'm saging wrong? He was like, you didn't even open your windows. Like, this is just how I was raised, like, spiritually. That's just how it's done. And I was like, the only people who say that's just how it's done in regards to spiritual things are like priests who touch little boys. And he was like, what do you mean? I don't touch little boys. And I was like, this is not the point. The point was cults and spiritual leaders are the people who talk like that. Like, this is how it's done. And that's just how I was raised. I don't subscribe to those philosophies. So I don't really give a fuck if that's your reasoning. Sometimes it feels like I have never interacted romantically with women who have opinions, who have like, and I just know that can't be true. So that's why I get so confused. And I'm like, what is this how you normally talk to people? Like, you just never let anyone have anything? And he was like, well, I'm just like used to being in a position of leadership. So are you fucked? Like, are you actually okay? You don't know how to, and I kind of like went off a little bit. I wasn't yelling. I was just being who I am on here, which can be intense, but guess what? I reciprocate energy. So if I'm feeling disrespected, I didn't disrespect. I just explained all the different ways that I felt disrespected. And then he starts to say that, you know, it's fine if, first of all, I don't really respect people who bumblefuck their way to the point of like what they're saying. Like, be direct or don't shoot. That's something I live by. Be direct or don't shoot. Don't beat around the bush. Well, like, and he was saying all these, and I was just thinking blah, 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 and blah, 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 to say earlier in the date that he wanted me to plan more things for him. We'd been on like 2 dates, and you're a man, so I barely trust you yet. Like, for me to like want to plan a date and like treat a guy, this is what I'm saying, like sassy men are getting out of hand, out of control. The audacity, you think you deserve this from me yet? Already? You're still like, you've already made me cry once and we've been out like twice. You know what I mean? And that was just from making me feel unheard and understood. And then he even asked, he apologized and he said, what can I do to make you feel more reassured in that moment if a night like that happens again? And I said, make me feel heard. Fast forward, sorry, I know I'm time bouncing. Fast forward to this date where he's saying, you know, I was thinking something that was bumming me out. Bumming you out? Something that was bumming me out when I was thinking was like, you know, and just 5 minutes of like, you know, blah, 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 like scared to say it, not looking at me. I can't respect a fucking coward. I can't do it. Maybe you did to plan a date one time. Not like he's planned 1,000 dates. Like, we've been on like one real date, one like half real date, like accidental, like not planned out. You know what I mean? This is like our 3rd time seeing each other. And you're already bummed out. I was kind of bummed. This, in addition to the jabs about, like, he just would make a lot of jabs about my lifestyle or the way I was doing things. And so finally I had to say, like, hey, like, do you always talk to people like this? Do you ever let anybody have anything? And he's saying, you know, I'm just used to being in charge. And I kind of say, like, it's really important to me to feel like my opinions are being listened to. I never want to feel shut down, and I feel like that's like your default setting for whatever reason. And like, I basically just explained, like, I don't let people talk to me like that, and I don't like that sort of dynamic. And then he starts to say, you know, like, I get that you like want to express yourself and stuff, but there's just like a way to do it. Like, there's like a tact to like expressing yourself and like a strategy, and like not everybody has it. And I was like, I didn't even have interest in correcting him, because I was like, if you think me of all people has an issue with tact when speaking, you can suck my dick. Like, I don't even need to explain that. I don't care. I have not met a man in years that I don't feel like I can out argue and eat up when speaking. And this man is not an exception. And I have no interest in trying to prove that to you because I'll make you cry. Like, you're half crying right now. I just feel like there's a way to say, like, you could have been a little nicer. The expectation for me to coddle you, and I wasn't even being mean, okay? I'm just being direct. And sometimes people who have an issue with confrontation when somebody doesn't, like, I have no issue. I don't even really understand what people think confrontation is, because to me, a lot of times it's just being honest about my feelings and having a conversation. And these people who feel threatened by that, I'm not going to convince them out of that. Like, that's therapy, bro. That's therapy. Like, there's a time I just think you should be a little bit nicer. When I feel disrespected, I'm allowed to say how I feel, and I don't have to put it in roses and daisies because, like, you are the one being a dick, and now you're upset because I'm explaining how. I just don't care. Sassy men are out of control.